In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do the open buttonhole filler stitch. This stitch is a great way to fill in some of your wool applique pieces. Right here, I've done it in a pearl cotton number 5. And here I've done it in a pearl cotton number 5 in a variegated thread. This one, I've done a double open buttonhole filler stitch, which I will show you at the end of the video. And this one is just simply doing a back stitched circle and filling it in. Okay, so let's get started. For demonstration purposes, I'm using a pearl cotton number 8, and I'm also using a chenille number 24 needle. So to start this stitch, you're going to do a row of back stitches around your applique. In this case, I have a circle here. And we're going to come up in between 2 of the back stitches. And we're going to form a row across the circle. Take the back of your needle and you're going to go through the stitch that's right next to your emerging thread, the back stitch, from the top in, and you're going to catch your working thread behind your needle. Now keep in mind with this stitch you're going to need a lot of thread, so I have quite a bit here. And you're going to come through and it forms a loop. I'll show you that. And you're going to work a row across the top. Now, keep in mind that tension is really important with this stitch. You need a light hand and don't pull it too tight. I think I'm going to work about 4 stitches across the top here. Now, when I've come to the end of the row, you need to anchor these stitches. So take the back of your needle and go out through the next back stitch, and you're ready to start the next row. What I use a lot of times is the back of my needle to just push the stitches down a little bit so you can see where the loops are. Because what we're going to do is we're going to be going through this loop, this space in between these 2 loops. So I've come out, I'm going to come back in from the outside in, and I'm going to start my second row of stitches. Catching the back of, catching my thread through the back of my needle, and I'm going to do the next loop. I'm going to catch it again. Oops. And I'm just forming these little loops. You can see that. And I'm going to work my way across until I get to the other side. And then I'm going to exit out through that back stitch. I'm going to come back in and I'm going to start the row again. Okay, I've stitched about half of the circle, and I just want to point out a couple of things. As you're stitching, your threads will kind of draw up on one another, and they might look like this, or they might look a little unruly, but don't worry about that, because what you can do is take the back of your needle and you can just push those stitches back in place so you can keep going. Now, if this happens and that bothers you, you can also take a pin and just as a holding place, run your pin through those stitches there. It'll kind of keep it nice and tidy, but you have to keep in mind that you'll probably be catching the pin and that might bother you, but don't worry if your stitches do draw up, you'll get them back into place. So right now I've done half and I'm going to do the second half, and I'm going to skip a stitch on either one of these sides here just to kind of start making it a little bit smaller. So I've exited out this side. I'm going to come back in. And I'm going to keep working across until I've almost filled the entire circle in. And then when I've come to about this point here, I'm going to come back and show you how to anchor those stitches down. I'm ready to finish the circle. I've kind of gotten close to the bottom, and all you're going to do is you're going to take the back of your needle, you're going to take that loop, and you're going to go back down in your back stitch below and just draw it down. Take the next one, and draw it down. And you're going to keep doing this until you've gone all the way across and you've anchored those stitches. And then you can use the back of your needle to push those stitches into place if you need to. So then when you're done, you can just take your needle and draw it through the back of your work. So now I'm going to show you what to do when you run out of thread. If you've got a small circle, you won't probably run out of thread, but just in case, I'm going to show you what to do. I have a square that I've drawn, and I've started filling it in with the filler stitch, and I've run out. I'm going to run out of thread. You don't want to run out in the middle of your stitch. You want to run out and start over at the edge. So what I've done is I've come out in this back stitch, and I'm going to just take my needle and draw it in the back. Now I have one little tip for you. I don't tie it off in the back until I've finished with the entire thing, because if I mess up or I don't like something, I want to start over, and I've tied this off or I've woven in the ends, then you've got to sort that out, and I just want to wait until I'm done. So what I'm going to do is just going to leave it, and I'm going to start with the new thread. So because I've gone in the background here, I'm going to come up here in between these two back stitches here, and I'm going to start by weaving back into the square, and now I'm going to continue on with my buttonhole filler stitch. So as you can see, the stitches are right here, and I've got one right here. It's a little bit tight to see, but I'm going to grab that one first. So I'm going to grab that, and the next one, and I'm going to keep going. Now, if you've hung out with me this long, I'm going to show you how to do the double open buttonhole filler stitch. It's beautiful. To do the double, all you're going to do is go through your loops twice. I'll just show you really quick. So there's one. I'm going to go through the loop again. Now you're going to go through the next loop. There's one. Go through the same loop. Into the next loop.